Did you hear it? What did you think?
I thought he seemed very relaxed and like he had done it before.
Yeah.
I thought he did really good job.
Nice. How about you? You didn't hear it? Good job, man. I enjoyed it too. I didn't hear the whole thing because of the meeting I was at, but I did hear some of it, and I knew you'd do well on it. Yeah, you have that personality. Would y'all like to see him on the network with his own show?
Me, young man.
No, nobody want that. Huh?
I think he'd do good.
You do?
I think Hassan, I like hearing him not in a setting where he doesn't have to be. Like in church, he's always like, yes, no, very calm, few words. But on the show, he was like ready to go. Good guess, too.
Yeah.
Did you know his son? You know his son, huh?
Yeah, I've known them both for a while.
Good morning. Welcome to church. I am Jesse Lee Peterson. Thank you so much for being with me. You can get involved by going to our chat line on YouTube, and Hake will give me your questions and comments. I do appreciate it. And good morning, everybody, again. We're starting late because the computer broke, right?
Right.
It's not my fault. I don't take responsibility for that at all. So today we're going to get down to some basic. I want to go back to simple stuff. But first, thank you again, Hassan. I know a lot of you out there saw it. I've heard from you. Hassan sat in for me on Wednesday, on my radio show, and I do appreciate it. And Hake and Chris on Tuesday. So thank you all. I went to where did I go to?
Detroit.
What?
Detroit.
Detroit for what?
To appear on the Vortex.
Oh yeah, the Vortex.
Which is the Church Militants show.
Church
with
militant
Michael
thing. It was very, very nice, very interesting. I learned a lot. So we're back now. First, let me ask, anybody seen the slap? Only one person saw it? Yeah, the Will Smith thing. Everybody saw it? It's everywhere. It's everywhere. What did you think about it when you saw it?
Yeah, I thought it was fake.
You thought it was fake?
Yeah, it looks fake to me. Like Chris Rock leaned in. It seems like he was getting ready to take the hit. So it looked like they had rehearsed it or something.
Oh, okay.
And then I feel like it was meant to make everyone pick a side. Like, oh, you're either on Chris Rock's side or you're on Will Smith's side. But
Yeah.
like, I feel like Chris Rock has the right to say whatever he wants, but so does Will Smith has the right to like react however he wants to react. And you
So
can't
he has a right to walk up on the stage and slap somebody?
if you insult his wife.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, until like the law's supposed to protect Chris Rock, but the law's gonna take like 10 minutes to get there. So in those 10 minutes, Will Smith could do whatever he wants. It's not right, but
It wasn't right for him to do it?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't want to judge him. I don't want to judge Will Smith either.
Right. Okay. What did you think?
I thought it was disgusting and I thought it was ghetto.
Disgusting and ghetto.
Yes,
You can't take them anywhere.
right, exactly. That's what I thought. That is exactly what I thought.
Oh, amazing. What did you think about it?
I thought it was pathetic.
Pathetic.
Yeah.
And so when you saw it happen, your first impression, oh, that's pathetic?
Yeah.
And why?
For me, I initially just went straight to how weak men are to women.
How weak men are to women?
And how
Meaning what?
How a woman can rule over a man, make a man do irrational, dumb things.
So you think his wife made him do that?
I don't think his wife made him do that. He's just weak to women, and he has identities. He identifies with his wife. He's got something, some sort of ego, something in him made him want to go up there and defend his wife because his wife's feelings got hurt, and I think that's pathetic.
Oh, okay. Amazing.
Yeah.
Did you think it was fake at first, or you thought
I
it was
honestly
real?
didn't even care about whether it was real or if it was fake. I just saw a man react in a way because of a woman. And
Right.
I thought that that was not right.
Amazing. What did you think of it in the blue shirt? When you first saw it happen, what did you think?
When I first saw it happen, I agree with my man's in the black. I did think it was fake. Just because it just, I don't know, for a man to walk up on a stage and slap another man, I just felt like his reaction, like, well, Will Smith's reaction to just like how he just walked back all nonchalant, like it was kind of like, did he really just do that? And then the whole hand to the face thing, it did look fake, like you really couldn't see clearly if he made contact. But you know, after the whole situation, you know, seeing how Chris reacted and stuff, and I was like, okay, then it probably is real. Oh yeah, another thought why I thought it was fake, because the whole King Richard thing, it was like, I guess in the movie, that's how Serena and Venus' father really was. Like he was more of like a protector, and you know, and I guess Will Smith, I thought at first Will Smith was trying to like still portray the Oscar that he got with, you know, with him being in that movie, you know what I'm saying? Venus's father, you know, and him, you know, so that it could create more, I guess, popularity or something like that.
For
I
the
don't know.
movie.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I know he already got the Oscar, but, you know, I guess he was just trying to like just make everybody know like this is why I won the Oscar, you know what I'm saying? Because I really put my all into it, you know what I'm saying? So I
Right.
thought he was trying to display that on stage, but yeah,
What do you
obviously
think
it was
now?
real, but I don't agree with it. How I would have handled the situation, I probably would have, after the fact, I would have came to Chris and was like, hey man, I don't respect how you know, put my name, my wife's name in your mouth, you know what I'm saying? Talked it out with him. And, you know, if Chris, depending on how Chris reacted at that moment of me bringing up how I felt, you know, if Will Smith wanted to put his hands on him, then that's between two men. You know what I'm saying? And that's, you know,
Well,
that's what
Chris,
they have to do.
I mean, Chris said that he didn't know his wife had the bald head disease.
You know what? I mean,
I didn't know it
I
either.
didn't know
I thought
either.
she just had cut her hair that way.
Yeah, I didn't know either, because
Yeah.
I'm not into the whole table.
It was about that movie, G.I. Jane or something like that.
Yeah,
So it
yeah.
really wasn't about her. I guess the bald head reminded him of her. But it was more about about that. He said he didn't know about the bald head disease.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't either. But I mean, like I said, like I would have handled it totally different. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? I wouldn't
Okay.
have did it on stage like that. You know what I'm saying? I would have handled that behind closed doors.
Absolutely.
And if something happened then you know, it's two men. They gotta handle that out. They gotta.
But
you know,
that's
handle
not how
that,
black
you know?
people do it. They shoot you right then. And they fight right then. They don't have sitting up to wait.
Yeah. I mean, some people. I mean, it ain't just black people though. You know what I'm saying? You know?
Remember when the Oscars used to be so nice and family oriented and people look forward to it and they turn the TV on, everybody sit around the TV and the movies used to be really great because of real acting without all the cover up stuff. And you really, really enjoyed it. You can't do that anymore. That's over now.
Yeah.
It's hood now.
Yeah.
You ain't seen fights yet. They're gonna get worse.
And
And white people gonna be afraid to go.
another thing is, it's like they're comedians, so it's like, so are people just going? Can you not take a joke nowadays? Like I understand Will
Right.
Smith went through a lot of stuff, you know, with Jada, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying, and her cheating, and you know what I'm saying, her just, you know, kind of being the dominant voice, you know what I'm saying.
Would
and
you
just,
marry a woman like that?
Honestly, no, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
Especially when she cut her hair off, I'm gone. That's the last sign I need.
Yeah, no, I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Just because I'm more of a alpha male, I guess you could say. You know what I'm saying? So a woman like that, she couldn't see herself with me either. You know what
How
I'm
old
saying?
are
Because
you?
certain stuff I'm just not going for.
How old are you?
I'm 25.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
Amazing.
you know, I'm more of a, I do believe that the man should be the leader in the family. You know what I'm saying? So that's the persona and the character that.
Is
I
this your
would
first
portray.
time here?
Yeah, it's my first time here.
Oh, how did you hear about us?
Well, I knew about you before. I watched a couple of your shows.
Oh, okay.
And then I just met my man's. Like on Wednesday, my cousin had a little short film that she was in L.A. Then I met him, and then me and him were talking about certain political aspects and stuff like that. And so he said I should come here to check you out. So,
Right on, man.
Yeah.
Well, welcome.
Thank you.
I'm glad you're here.
Thank you.
Raymond, the last word. What do you think about the slap?
2 words I can say about Will Smith. Beta male to the extreme. And I hate, and forgive me for being crass, but I feel that his wife got him by the cojones.
Wow. Close your ears, kids.
Yeah, just one more thing.
Oh,
I'll make it quick. During the 1974 Oscars, when David Niven was presenting the winner for Best Picture, a streaker ran across the stage, and Niven never batted an eyebrow. Which do you think was more classier, his reaction in '74 or Will Smith's reaction now?
good point, man. Absolutely. Very good point. When I first saw it, I thought it was an act too. I could not believe it was real because the way he walked up there and the way he did it, I thought they were just acting. And but then later, when you hear more and more the story as time gone by, you know, you understand that Will Smith is a miserable man right now. You know, for him to do that, he has a lot of anger. He's very unhappy, and it doesn't matter how famous he is. I was talking to Francisco about it, and he pointed out how the people have put him really on a pedestal, and he really, really, you know, but he's up there with the fame and the money, but he has no peace. He has no peace. And for him to get up and do that in a location like that, he was driven by anger. It looked like his wife has control of him too, because at first he was laughing about the joke, and then she acted like she wanted to laugh, it seems, but then she looked at him and gave him that eye that your mama gave you when she wanted you to sit down and be quiet. And you have to sit down, it was like that. And it seemed as though that influenced him to go up and do what he did. But he's a miserable man. He's just like everybody that has anger. He's no different. He has anger, he's been controlled. And money and fame and all that will not solve that issue at all. You must forgive. You must overcome anger. You must overcome anger. So today any questions about anything before I get rolling here? So y'all came to be taught again. How should I start this? Interesting. In the middle, what do you think about your imagination?
I'm not sure. I never really thought about my imagination.
You never thought about it? Oh. What do you think, and then I'll come to you, Frank. What do you think about your imagination?
Well, before probably didn't think anything of it. I just thought, oh, okay, because all these people have a lot of people that are artists. Oh, all this creativity comes to them from the imagination, so I thought maybe it was good. But now I realize that it's just a place that you could just completely get lost in and be, like swayed away the wrong way.
Amazing. You had your hand, Frank? What do you think about your imagination?
As an example, I look at my imagination and what I thought when I would watch Will Smith act. And I had I believed his acting. I believed he was that type of a guy, character, family man, honorable, and I believed some of his roles. That man is this type of a guy.
Yeah.
And I admired that. And when I saw what he did on the awards show, it slapped me back in reality. I believed the lie, but that was something that I did myself. I believed it, you know, and I guess that's what acting is all about. Acting is, you know, portraying something that you're not. And so I believed it, and so I have to recognize that.
In your imagination?
In my imagination, I
Yeah.
believed what I saw. I believed what I heard. I actually used to like Will Smith, you know.
And now you don't?
I'm kind of in the middle right now because
So when you were
I'm a
in your
fool for believing
imagination,
it.
you liked Will Smith because
Yeah.
you had this image of him.
Yes.
And now that you're out of the imagination, you see him in the way that he's acting. You don't like him anymore?
I have to. I'm debating that. I'm just analyzing it.
That is so
truthful,
isn't that like totally
because-
interesting?
Yeah.
That's deep.
Because
Very deep point.
if I hate him, then why am I hating him from him being himself where he's at? That's me again judging, because I judged him as being saintly, and you know the next what is
But
it?
now that you see that he has anger and issues, why don't you still like him?
See, I put him on a pedestal.
Right.
I put him in a pedestal, and so I kind of worshipped him as, you know, he's king of the blacks, king of the black people, you know. Denzel Washington, you know, like Sidney Poitier, you know, king of the black people. And so when I saw that, I
Black
was
people
like,
used to not like Sidney Poitier.
yeah,
Back in the good old days, he was like an amazing actor, right?
Yeah.
And they used to not like him because they said he was acting too white.
but
He spoke well.
he
He was
spoke
a really
clear.
good actor. He would be in a lot of white movies, and black people didn't like that.
and the
And
same
now
with,
they like him because I guess he in the black movies.
you know, same with him. You know, he's a good actor. He doesn't slur his speech. He was clean. Portrayed a very nice image for Hollywood. They gave him all kind of awards because he was that kind. I believe that, and maybe that's on my part, weakness
So
on
you
my
couldn't
part.
see beyond that. You couldn't see the real man for seeing that.
You know,
the real person.
I honestly just kind of sitting back, watching a movie, relaxing, and I probably escape into some of his sci-fi movies, and I would relax, and I wouldn't even think past that because I got my own problems. I don't think about it.
Oh,
you know.
okay.
So
What did you think of him before? I mean, what do you think of your imagination?
Nowadays, I think of my imagination as sort of becoming not my own. Even though it's like my imagination, I can't relax in it the way I used to when I thought it was my own. So I guess that's how it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not my own. But even though it's just as useful as when I thought it was. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
There's this song, and I want to know what do you think of your imagination? While they're coming to the mic with him, bring the mic to him. There's this song. It was just my imagination. This guy imagined that another woman was his wife, or going to be his wife. He would see her, and he would just imagine that it was just my imagination. Soon we'll be married and have a family. He would imagine that he's going to be married. Yeah. And then find out later, I guess the lady belongs to someone else. And he realized he was just in his imagination. Isn't that a mess? Yes. What do you think about your imagination?
I think my imagination, when I was younger, it used to be like a wonderland or something I would get lost into to like pass time. But I think now it could be used kind of like a tool. You can imagine things, maybe create things like art or just anything. That's what I think about it.
So you use the imagination to paint or be creative?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do you live in your imagination?
No, not anymore. I used to when I was younger. I'd I would just get lost in my imaginations, not focus on anything. But now I don't really use it as much.
And how old are you now?
17.
You're 17?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good, man. You're becoming aware of it at 17?
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Believe me, you save yourself a lot of trouble. For real. Good. Stay with that. What do you think of your imagination in the black dress? Anybody ever? Do you ever think about the imagination? Like, no. Okay. Yeah.
I think now I try and stay out of my imagination.
But beforehand,
Before, yeah, I'd use it for creativity, for art, for school, but not now. I try and stay out of it because I think it just gets you in trouble.
and why are you staying out of it now? You trying to stay out of it.
Because it leads to thoughts, and you go down that train, and then you realize that you get lost, and then you start thinking and having conversations with yourself,
Yeah.
and then you go back and forth, and
Is it hard to stay out?
yeah, I still catch myself in it, and then I have to remember to bring myself out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so now that you're aware of it, what is it like for you when you fall into it? Because you're right, you have to grow out of it.
Yeah.
But what is it like for
When
you
I'm
when
in
you
it?
go into it? Imagine,
Before, when I'm in it, or before?
Now, when you fall into it now.
It's just a mess. It's just, yeah, it's just a mess. So I have to catch myself back. I just have to pull myself back out of it. Yeah.
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 That's a good word. It is a mess.
It's a mess. Yeah.
Just think, we've been living in that mess for so long, thinking that it was real, and having no peace in it.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Did you have your hand, Raymond?
Yes.
And what do you think of your imagination?
My imagination is a very dangerous place to be
Yeah.
because it tempts me to be something I'm not and do things I should never do.
Amazing. The young man behind you want to respond. The other side. You have two behinds. What do you think of your imagination?
It was something that, before it would be, it's like a trap, really. It's you could, if you're not careful, you could get trapped by it. Even when we talk about it here, like even like the good thoughts and the good imagination, it's still just as bad as the bad imagination.
Yeah.
Now that now that we're more awake to it and we shine a light on how dangerous it can be and how much of a trap it really is, it's sort of just like swatting away mosquitoes now. Like, oh, there's the imagination starting to pick up again. You just kind of like look at it and let it go.
You can tell when you go in now,
Yeah.
you become aware of that?
Yeah, definitely.
Isn't it interesting that that was a time where you didn't know you were going in and out of imagination?
Yeah,
that you were living there.
It was like I would imagine it was like kind of like being a drug addict, really. It's
Yeah.
like, or an alcoholic or whatever. It's you take this thing to kind of escape reality, and you feel really good if you're on that good imagination, and then even I don't know. It's just like it's a trip, I guess, and it doesn't really like we said. Even like when you're thinking about all the good stuff and like you're imagining all this good stuff, and you're imagining being with this woman, like the song. It's eventually that high is going to crash, and then you're really
Yeah.
going to feel it. So it's good to catch it before you kind of get swept up into it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a good word, too. Eventually, the imagination will crash for you. And if you are not aware of what's going on, that it is the imagination, you'll go nuts. You do something else crazy. Because you don't realize, as Frankie was saying about Will Smith, he was in his imagination about Will Smith because Will Smith was, actor, look like he have a lot of money, dress well. So he has this image about Will Smith, and it's not Will Smith's fault that he has that image because Will don't live with him. He doesn't live there. But he has that image, and now that this image is being crashed, he doesn't even like Will Smith. He didn't even like he really had the image. That was fake-like. It wasn't even real then. It was based on an illusion. And now that you see the real deal, you don't like him at all. That's because he never liked him. Never liked. But go ahead.
No, I just wanted to add to that because it's the bizarre thing about it is like when yesterday I was walking around Melrose area and there's this crazy guy like screaming, like homeless guy, probably tripping on something, and or it's like, have you ever met like a legitimate schizophrenic person? Like they think like, I don't know, like there's aliens chasing after them or
I
something.
meet him every day.
Right, I'm sure you do.
I talk to him every day.
Yeah, and it's like it's not really that different than somebody getting caught up in their imagination.
It's the
like,
same thing.
It's like
It's totally the same thing.
They're reacting to their imagination as if whatever they're imagining is happening in real life, and it's not. So it's like, is there really that much of a difference between it? So it's just something I realized.
Yeah, it's the same thing. The people walking down the road crazy, nobody in this room is any different than them because you're living in that imagination. Yes, sir. What do you think of your imagination?
I think the imagination is a world that was created in the fallen state when we were traumatized.
It definitely was.
And
anyone that lived there is living in hell because their hearts are of hell. They have no love.
yeah, it's like a remnant that was left over from that fallen state.
Yeah.
And we escaped into it to overcome the trauma that happened to us.
But the trouble get worse.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
But we
Amazing.
definitely create it.
So, are you aware now of your imagination?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I can see situations that cause me to try to go back into the imagination to overcome it. So
Yeah.
you can create a reality that fits you in order to help you overcome whatever situation you may be dealing with.
Yeah. Amazing. Yes, sir. What do you think of your imagination?
I think it's all pretend.
It's what?
All fake.
The imagination?
All of it is fake, yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
That's another thing about it. And there's nothing real or true about the imagination. Nothing. Ever, ever, ever.
like when you have your imagination, like you plan an event to carry out a certain way, and in your mind, it's gonna go from A to B all the way down to Z.
Yeah.
And when you show up, nothing goes the way you imagined it. So
Yeah.
it's there to deceive you. It's there to be deceitful every single time. So.
And do you still go in and out?
I'm starting to catch myself going into it. So I'm still guilty of going into it, but I'm learning through you. Like last week we were here, you said once you believe the thought and it goes in you, just relax.
Yeah.
So I've been doing that. So I'll get it, and if I catch myself, I'll just relax, and then I'll just observe it, kind of like a third person just looking at a schizophrenic walking down the street. Just let it pass by, let it go. It's not real. So
Yeah.
I've been more aware of it.
Nice. The young lady behind you. What do you think? How old are you?
I'm 19.
19?
Yes.
What do you think of your imagination at 19?
Just like when you were saying like the week before, like, you know, we tend to like think of our own thoughts and imaginations as our own.
Yeah.
Even if they're like good gifts or good ideas, like I'll think my ideas are from me instead of from God.
Yeah.
So like I think like in that aspect, like I think my imaginations are from me and that it's real.
Amazing. Are you starting to watch it now a little bit more now that you're aware that it's not you and it's not real and there is no truth in there?
Yeah, I am now that I've been listening to you more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to encourage you to watch it with everything. Even when you're speaking, be aware of yourself speaking or walking and all that. And you start to come out. You got to practice being aware of the imagination because it's constantly trying to draw you back in. And it'll draw you in just like that, and you won't recognize it. But if you practice being, it's like we're supposed to walk in the light of the Spirit of Christ. And the only way we're going to be able to do it, now that we're aware, we overcome the anger, you could be aware of that and walk in the light. And you'll be, again, because we've been doing it for so long, we'll find ourselves in the imagination. But the moment you realize you are there, then you come out. You just realize you're in there. Don't freak out because you're growing away from the darkness. And then eventually you'll find yourself out more than anything. And I almost don't want to say this because it's part of the biblical question, the new biblical question. And you'll be able to see, really. And your life is changing. Everything is happening. It doesn't feel like it is because the imagination still can trick you sometimes. And so in a moment you'll feel fear. You ever had that inner fear like, oh Lord, my world falling apart, right? Like nothing gonna work out. You thought it was fine, but it's not, right? And then it's only because you're in the imagination, everything is still fine. Nothing has changed. It's just you went into the imagination. So when that happened, don't trip out. Just come out of your thoughts again. Come back present. And if you practice being aware, you're growing into the light just as you grew into the darkness when you believed into it. You're growing out of the darkness into the light. It won't feel like it, but when you're out, you'll see that you are, and it'll be fine, you'll be free. But it won't feel like you're really doing anything because Satan will tell you that you're not, but you'll be fine. Amazing. What do you think of your imagination in the blue shirt?
Well, I'm listening here, and I understand imagination is in your mind, sure. It's the way you want it to be.
It's
But
what?
it's the way you want it to be. Whether it be good, bad, or what, that's what you imagine. But reality brings you out and shows you what it really is.
Yeah.
So you just have to have the open mind and know, like you're saying, be awake.
Yeah.
Know what the difference is between one and the other.
Amazing.
Live in reality, as you want to say.
It's hard for people to live in reality. It really is. It's like when man and woman meet, and they both think they love each other. Oh, I love you, you love me. You lay on the phone, you talk all day and all night. You fall asleep on the phone. Anybody ever done that? You're so in love, you fall asleep on the phone. And you just think you love one another, right? And then you get married or you move in, all hell breaks loose. Now you hate this one that you love. Instead of being on the phone, you want to throw the phone, right? But you don't realize the whole thing was an illusion about one another. It was never real. And now you're living at home with the person. You can see the real person. You hate the real person. You hate the real person until you're out of the illusion. Isn't that amazing? But if you're not seeking the kingdom of God in His right way, you wouldn't know that you were in an illusion. Because imagination would give you something else to think about to make you think, oh, you could resolve this problem by doing this, by doing that. And you'll find yourself trying to do it. It's amazing. We're living in hell for no reason. Really. We don't have to be in hell. What do you think of your imagination? And then I'll tell y'all why I asked this question.
Yeah, before, I would be in it all the time. I would be very emotional, crying, laughing type of thing.
Crying and laughing?
Just like emotional, right?
Yeah.
Because I was in it. But now when I do fall back in it and I come out, I'm like, this is crazy. Or, yeah, I just think sometimes it gets a little fun how the things that
Are you still in and out at times? You can tell when you go in and come out of it?
Yeah, I can tell now that when I go in it, I'm like, oh, this is not real. I'm like in my room and I'm not in that. You know what I mean? Like I'm not living what I'm imagining.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Right here. What do you think about your imagination? You what?
I don't have anything.
You don't have anything? Do you ever think about the fact that you live in your imagination?
I don't think that I do.
And why not?
I just don't think that I do.
You don't think that you live in your imagination?
No.
And now that you hear that we're talking about it, does that cause you to at least check to see if you were living in there?
I mean, I'm not saying I never imagine things, but I wouldn't say that I live in it.
You don't say you live in there?
Yeah.
Do you believe you live outside of your imagination?
Yeah, I think I live in reality.
You do?
Yeah.
And what does reality look like?
I don't know how to really describe that. I mean, it just reality. We're sitting right here in church. It's reality.
Oh, okay. Amazing.
So.
What do you think of your imagination? And we're having a fellowship. This is not teaching church. Because everybody in this room is smart as anybody else in the world. Really, you're smart, you just don't know it. There's not one person in this earth that's smarter than you. Really. You just don't know it. Everybody dumb, everybody smart. Yes.
Yeah, so it's kind of boring or whatever.
The imagination boring?
Boring, and it's like a collection or a product of thoughts. So it's just a bunch of thoughts.
Yeah.
Jesse, I was gonna ask you something like, why do people go from love to hate so fast?
I'm gonna tell you,
Like,
it's all about the imagination.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you. That's why I got the question here. That's a good question. So, are you practicing staying out of your imagination?
Yeah, definitely.
You are.
Yep.
And what is it like for you when you're out of it?
I'm always out of it.
You're always out of imagination? You don't get into it anymore?
Not anymore.
Never, 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 ever, ever, never?
I mean, so I kind of write on my free time.
You what?
I write,
Right.
and I was writing this story or whatever, and I started off as a fiction, but I was using my imagination.
Right.
But like the more I kept writing, I was like, it's better off just being a real story than a fiction.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Let me take James first, and then I'll come to you.
Well, these are a couple of questions unrelated.
Okay.
From YouTube.
Oh, not about the imagination thing?
Not specifically.
Okay, go ahead.
Adrian asks, if we have no choice, then how can we do good?
Well, you can't do good. Really. Can't one person on earth do good. That's why you must be born again. Your nature must change. You must be born of a new nature, which is the nature of God. And anyone that lives in their imagination has the nature of the devil. And so it's not that person that's doing it. It's not the individual. It's the spirit that's driving them to do it. They can't help it because they have the nature of the devil. That's why God said we must be born again. A brand new nature. A nature of love and not hate, of real love. Because anyone that has anger has hatred in their heart. They're playing God. And they have no peace. So you must be born of love. Good question.
Dale asks, I wonder, since the past and future are illusions, isn't it impossible for a fallen person to be saved or for a son of God to be in a fallen state?
Is it impossible for a fallen person to be saved? What does that mean? That's what gets saved, the fallen. Christ came for the fallen.
Right.
Christ came for the fallen, that we all shall overcome this fallen state. Now, most people won't, of course, only a few, but he came for all who would accept it. It's open to anyone that want it. Good point. I saw a hand, I said, oh yeah, right here, and then here.
On the imagination part, I wanted to touch on some people, I think it was you and a couple others who mentioned the creativity side of it for the artists and things like
Right.
that. You know, I make music and art, and I find that there's actually no way to apply the imagination to make anything of quality. It's not until I, at least personally for myself, that I let go of everything that I, in the past, could create something of value. And now I realize that it wasn't really me creating it. I used to sit in my bed and close my eyes and play my guitar until I couldn't feel my hands on the guitar or on the strings. And I would eliminate all the thoughts, and then things would start flowing out of me. I'd just hit record on a tape recorder, like the kind you get from like the CVS back in the day. And some of the best things I ever created came out like that. 50 minutes of just like music, just lyrics, whatever, they came out. And I had maybe a decade of writer's block where I couldn't create anything.
Yeah.
And now that I've been doing the silent prayer more, I had this idea when she was speaking of it. It's like, it doesn't come from me. And if I even start to think that, I'll fall out of that, I guess, flow state or emptiness, where I've let go. And it's almost like the silent prayer, the same state I get in when I'm deep in the silent prayer
Yeah.
is familiar to me with that same, I guess, creative arena where I'm not thinking about it.
So is it better now?
I almost feel like it's a bridge now. I can be quiet and I can close my eyes and go back to this place where the thoughts don't interrupt where I'm trying to, I guess, get to.
Yeah.
That place was blocked off for so long, and now I feel like I can allow that kind of like whatever gift I was given with music to flow through me without me trying. Because when I try to grab onto the idea, it becomes bad. I start thinking too much about it, and that's no good.
Nice.
Music shouldn't treat me like that, or I shouldn't feel that
So
way
are you
about it.
staying out of your imagination more now?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, good, man.
Yeah.
Nice. Yes, sir. Look how many people in their imagination right now as we're talking about it. Come out your head. Let the words go in one ear and out the other. Don't hold on to anything. All right? Yes, sir.
Going back to the comment what James said about the good deeds or whatever, I forgot what the question was from somebody on the super chats. So if we can't do good deeds, then I mean, is it a good deed to help someone who fell in a pothole, and then you just happen to pass by and then you help them out? Is that
No.
not a good deed, or
No.
no?
Going back in the pothole.
But I mean, helping someone out when they need something, is that not a good deed?
Only if you can see that it's the right thing to do. Because if you're in the imagination, you're trying to help them and you're hurting them.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
it's a
But
logical
if
thing to
you're not-
do, right? To help your fellow man, right? You help them when they're in need, but just
Not-
don't expect anything from them, right?
No, it's not necessarily logical because they may need what they're going through. They may need to fall in a pothole to wake up. And by you going there and giving them a hand out, you're stopping them from seeing what they need to see.
Oh, but I mean, literally, because my dad would tell me stories about back in Mexico, because they lived out in the farm, in the back.
Right.
Yeah, and he would tell me stories about people whose animal would fall in the, off a cliff or whatever, and then other people would come if they happened to have a horse with a lasso, and they would lasso the animal and bring it back up.
Yeah.
And same thing with people too. You're in a situation, you need help. Someone helps you out, and is that not a good deed? Or
I wasn't there, so I don't know.
Oh,
but once again, if you're helping someone and you're in darkness, you are not helping with a good deed, that's for sure. You're helping because you want something bad. You're helping because of some type of imagination you have about it. And all imaginations all wrong all the time. Never ever true. So that's why you have to stay out of it.
okay, yeah. So a more modern example: if I see somebody on the street being attacked by some homeless person or someone else, and I decide to just go up and knock that person out who's attacking them, is that a good deed?
Well, once you get out of jail, you can ask yourself that.
See, that's the thing. That goes to the biblical question. I wanted to answer the biblical, but something
not
happened
yet.
to me. But yeah, but not yet. But
Yeah.
that go.
Yeah, hold on to that.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Let me ask Ernest. Ernest, what do you think? Where's Ernest? Tell Ernest to come here. What do you think about your imagination?
I think it's an illusion
You do?
Mhm.
Do you? So why do you think it's an illusion?
because I can see that it's not grounded in reality.
Yeah.
It comes from within the mind.
Yeah. And so, like, do you live in and out, or you out?
Sometimes, yeah. Yeah,
Some-
sometimes.
Sometimes what?
I'm in and out.
Yeah. What is it like when you're in there?
It's like you're living in an illusion.
I mean, do you know at the time it's an illusion, or does it feel like?
I mean, I know when I'm in it, yeah. I know
And
when
do you know when you're in there? Do you know it's an illusion, or does it seem real?
I mean, when I'm in it, probably not, but at some point I snap
Yeah.
out of it. And at that moment I realize, or sometimes I see that I'm in the imagination. I know that, I don't agree with the thoughts or, what they're about, so I don't get carried away with them.
And so, and I want to ask Nick the same thing. When you're in the imagination, you're living in there.
Yeah.
And you're feeling a fear and anger or doubt or darkness.
Right.
Do you know at the time you're in there, or do you think that's real?
Say that again?
Do you know at the time that you're in the imagination, or do you think that's real?
I don't really understand. I don't understand the question.
When you're in the imagination and you're
Right.
having fear
Right.
or doubts or worry about what others think about you, and you're in the imagination, do you know at that time that you're in there?
Probably not in that exact precise moment. I
It
usually
seems-
catch myself once I'm in it,
Yeah.
then something will snap me out of it.
All right.
Yeah.
Do you believe it's possible to live outside, that you can go away from it totally?
Probably, yeah.
You think that's possible?
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to smash the imagination today. We're going to smash and grab. No, they need it. They smash and grab. Nick, how about you? What do you think of your imagination?
It's dark. It's not real. Just to add on to what a lot of people have already said.
Yeah. Do you catch yourself going in and out?
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This morning I told the guys, well, three of them, I want you guys to be aware when you're walking, or when you're talking to one another, or when you're by yourself. Be aware of the present moment. Just feel yourself walking. Because you know how you tend to walk, but you don't think about walking. You just move it, you don't know how you got there, you just know you're there, right? But if you practice being aware of walking and of speaking and of just practice, you're going to go in and out, and you're going to go in and out 100,000 times. And sometimes it'll get frustrated. Oh, I'm tired of going, trying to be aware, right? But practice being aware, and as time go by, it become easier. You'll be more aware than you would of the darkness. You really will, but you got to practice doing it, because the imagination is not just going to set you free. It's the light of God that's going to set you free. And the awareness of it in all things, even when you sit in meetings like this, rather than so caught up what's being said and all that, be aware of yourself sitting there. Be aware of yourself listening. Be aware. Practice doing that. It'll blow your mind. So I want to crush the imagination as much as possible. Any question about that, the imagination? No. Yes, sir.
I believe it could be used in a good way. For example, as a child, say you're starting a business, you're imagining yourself having a big business, but you understand it's fake, it's not real, it's an illusion. But if you understand it's fake because you live in the presence, you could manifest it if you keep doing the right thing and then fulfill that imagination. But the most important thing is understanding it's fake.
But when you're old enough to start thinking about a business, you're not aware you're in your imagination.
Right, exactly. So you could separate. You know it. You understand it's just an imagination, but you know it's your imagination.
As a kid?
Even me right now as an adult.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I understand that it's fake and it's not real, and I don't catch myself living there.
One thing about if your imagination is telling you that you want a business, I wouldn't go for it. The imagination is setting you up. Because you go for it and you're stressed out over it, you're worried about it, you think you need a plan, you think, oh, it's too hard, blah, 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 right? Because you got it from the imagination. But if it comes naturally, it will be easy. It will be no deal at all. And it will just unfold by itself. So I wouldn't get into the imagination about a business.
Yeah,
and then somebody expert will come along with a degree and tell you, you need a 5-year plan. You need to have $100,000 in the bank. You need this, you need that, and you fall for it. You believe that lie from the expert because you lived in imagination, now you want it.
Like last Sunday, I had a call from my accountant saying, hey, I need a delivery today. And in the past imagination, I would have been upset. Man, I got to go deliver, drop off. But I understood it's that supports me, what I got to do as a man. Again, having a good attitude about it. All right, cool. Come to church. After this, drive to Eagle Rock. From there, not living the imagination, just having the right attitude and just applying yourself in that direction. Yeah.
Attitude is everything.
Good attitude.
Even when you're in the imagination, you should have a good attitude. Because if you don't have a good attitude, you're going to get deeper into darkness of the imagination. Because stress, anger, worry, anxiety, and all that, thinking you know what you want, thinking you have an idea, all that is evil. It's the nature of the devil. It has nothing to do with God at all. Because God tells you not to even worry about those things. And the things he tells you not to worry about is the very thing that you do worry about. Isn't that like crazy? It's like crazy. He said, don't worry about this. And you can't help it because you're in the imagination. And it comes from ideas. It comes from what you've been taught. And it comes from experts. It's not my experts on my show. And it comes from everything but from God. But from God. All right? So here's why I am focusing on the imagination today. I realize that a lot of people are still seeing me in their imagination. They're still seeing, I didn't know that. When God woke me up 33 years ago now, well, the organization is 32, but I woke up a year before I started Barn. When he allowed me to see, he also allowed me to see clearly that of myself I know nothing and of myself I could do nothing. And he just took away all the desire. He took that away. Just seeing it took it away from me trying to do anything of myself. And I was just like everybody else. I was trying to make things happen prior to that. You know, in imagination, on the ego trip. Trying to make things happen, and it wasn't happening. Or if it did happen, it didn't work out well. I had to go back and do something else, add it and take it away, right? And so he took that desire away from me when he took the anger away. Because he took the anger away, and then he changed my heart, my real self, from anger to love. He just changed it. Thank God he did. Because if he didn't, I wouldn't be doing what I do today. I would have given up a long time ago, right? Because all these years, there have been so many challenges that has come on this straight and narrow path, and I had no idea the kinds of challenges and the many that would come. But because he turned the light on for me, allowed me to see, and took away the anger, it's prevented me from overreacting. I can't help myself. I cannot go back. And believe me, if I could have gone back, I would have already. I'll be like, forget this, I'm moving to Alabama. It's better on the plantation. But I cannot help it. I cannot help it. And things come, right? And so I've just started to understand it as I have grown over the last 32 years about why people worship other people, put them on a pedestal, and all that, right? And so lately I've been seeing more of it, more and more, and I didn't know that existed until lately, right? So here's the deal. When you idolize another person and you hear something about that person, like they do with me, whether true or false, it traumatizes them. They go from hate to love, like 90 going north. As you were saying, there is no love. Because if you had true love, it doesn't matter what happened, you can't go from love. But the only reason you go from hate to love because you've always had to hate, right? You've always had to hate. And so over the years, and then when they have this imagination crash, it crashes it. When you hear something about your hero, whether it's true or false, the imagination crash. And now you're lost, and you're mad, and you run around crazy, don't know what to do, right? But most people don't pause and look at that and say, as Frankie did with Will Smith, most people don't pause and say, wow, that was me and my illusion. Because when you can look at my old films and everything. I never put on a front. I probably gone out of my way too far not to put on one. I never thought of myself as making anything happen. I knew I couldn't change people because I couldn't change myself. I had to ask God to let me see what was wrong. I was like, you know what, I've been reading the Bible, I've been going to church, and I can't get this thing right. I can't be right. I want to be right. Let me see what's wrong. And he allowed me to see, right? And so it's that seeing that has changed. It changed the heart first to love, and love conquers all. Everything. Everything else about the body and everything. The mind is renewed. But you need love, the God love, to do that. The real love. He said something like, you may speak in tongues, you may be prophesizing, you may lay hands on the dead or whatever you said, right? You do all that, if you ain't got no love, you ain't got nothing. It's all vanity. Have y'all heard that before? It's all vain. You can drive the finest car, have the finest whatever. You could be a street preacher. Hooping and hollering, carrying on. If you don't have perfect love, you have nothing. Really. But most people, because they're in their imagination, their focus is on the wrong thing. It's not on the heart. It's on vices. It's on everything else but that. Right? And so I realized, and the reason I realized, because when people hear things about me, whether true or false, some of them have the gall to ask me, come to me and ask me. And so they're asking like personal stuff, right? And so I would ask them, why you want to know? Why you want to know my personal stuff, right? What you heard, true or untrue, right? Why you want to know? I just want to know. But why? Because I want to know. What good would it do you? If you could tell me what good it would do you, why you want to know, then I'll answer it. So why do you want to know? They couldn't tell me why they want to know. They walk away screaming. They want to know your personal business so bad, whether it's false or true, right, that they walk away screaming because they can't tell you. Now, if I had that anger and someone came in and asked me my personal stuff, I'll be going off. You'd get mad about people asking, right? But God would not let me get angry. He won't let me get angry about it because he wants me to see and grow from it. He got us. God got us. But you got to overcome the anger. Your heart must be changed. Anyone that has anger is a murderer. And anyone who has anger cannot be trusted. And so they were like, ask me. I even had women ask me, is this true? I was like, if it was true, do you think I'm going to say yes to you that it is true? Will you hear me all the time say, don't tell a woman your personal business? I was like, where do you come from? You have all these years, you've not heard me say never, never, ever, 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 but never tell a woman your business. And they're going to ask me, is it true? Are you crazy? But anyway, and so what happens is that when you have perfect love and someone approaches you about rumors, whether true or untrue, you won't freak out. You stay still, so you, not even knowing that what's going to happen, you're growing from that fear, or you're growing away from that, what people think, or you're growing away from it, right? And then I noticed that when they do that, they don't know that they're in their imagination about the person, that they expect you to be better than them. Imagination people expect the other person to be better than them. So I want to crush that, all right? I'm not better. I've never put on a personality. Look at all my old films. You'll see just Jesse. Because I know that everything that I've done is from God. I don't plan it. I don't think about it. I don't pray on it. You know how they tell you to pray on it? I don't pray on it. I've always had a way to see when I do meetings, when I speak, because I learn from it. That's why I like fellowship. That's another imagination. Imagination thing I want to crush. This is not a church. Because they'll tell you, this is a church. That's in your imagination too. I never thought of this as a church. This is a fellowship. When we all get together, edify one another, correct one another, and learn from one another. It's not a church. I've always said I don't teach you anything because you have a teacher within. And let no man teach you. Have I always said that? Because I know I have sense enough to see that we should not let any other human being teach us anything. We have a teacher, and we are as smart as anyone else. We're as smart as anyone else. But if you're in a fallen state and you're living in your imagination, you think just because someone has a degree or a title that they are smarter than you, and they are not. That's an illusion. The person with the degree has to deal with the same thing you have to deal with. The imagination, some are trying to overcome and most are not. But they're dealing with the same spirit you're dealing with inside. And you might be more aware of it than they are, and they have no idea what they're talking about. You're smarter as anyone else. God said, let no man teach you. I didn't make that up. And when you stop letting people teach you and just let words go in and out the ear and not hold on to anything, keep your glass empty, you will grow. And you will see that you already know. And you wouldn't put that person on a pedestal or in your imagination thinking that somehow or another they're a God-like figure. And then when you hear a rumor, whether it's true or not, you wouldn't be crushed by it. Because you just see Jesse, or you just see Louise, or you just see Larry, or whoever, right? It's just another person. Like everybody see everybody in this audience, you all see yourself the same, but for me, you see me a little different, and I'm not. I'm no different. And I always say, don't stop praying. I have to pray all the time. Why do you think I say that? The devil's dealing with me too. You know what I mean? Why I'm telling you all, y'all have to pray like I don't have to do it. I say I always have to pray. The devil even tempted Jesus. Didn't he take him up on a mountain or something and say, look out over the world, I'll give it to you if you go sit down? Something like that, right? And Jesus said, no, you better leave me alone. Right? Listen, And so I'm crushing the imagination. Jesse. And the last curse. And they said, well, you have the title preacher, right, or pastor. That gives you a false illusion. It really does. I don't even think Christ gave himself a title, right? Did he? Anywhere the Bible does he give himself a title? I'm sorry, say it out loud so they can hear you.
Not that I know of.
Yeah, he never did it, right? And Christ always said, when Christ said something that was smart, like, oh, wow, that's deep. And Christ like, look, cool out. It's not me, it's the Father in me. You can do it too. Even Christ said it. Don't make me your hero. Don't make me your God. I'm just the Son of God. I came to fellowship with a message. And the message is you must be born again. You must forgive. The message is the heart must change from stone to love. And if you believe that message, you can return to the Father. You can be born again. That's all he had. He had the message. And they tried to make him a God. Even when and even today they still call him God. They're still not done. Even though he said, I'm not God. Meaning the Father sent me. I just have a spirit of the Father in me. I'm a body with the spirit of the Father. But they still call him that. And so the title Jesse, I only have it because the state say you need it. You know, you have to do a reverend thing, right? That's the only way I have it. I don't identify with it at all. I even forget that I have that title until somehow or another I need to write it down. I hardly write it unless I need to. I always just say Jesse Lee Peterson. Really. Because that's how I see me. I don't see myself as any different than anyone else. No different than anyone else. The only difference between me and most millennials nowadays, men and women, I don't tell my personal business. Y'all do. And y'all get glorified. Y'all think y'all supposed to be telling it. It's the craziest thing I ever see. You don't supposed to tell your personal stuff. Don't do it because the very people you tell it to are going to judge you later about it. The moment they go in their imagination and get mad, they're going to judge you. And they can't do anything about it anyway. Just think about that. There's nothing they can do about it. They're just nosy. And they feel good about theirs because they just heard about yours. Salvation is of the heart, folks. Love conquers all. He said, when you read about love in the scripture, he named all these things about love, right? And he said the greatest of them all is love. And it is. It will conquer all. But you got to overcome the anger. You must be born again. The heart must change from hate to love. Because as long as you have anger, you're going to live in your imagination and you don't have a source to fight for you. You don't have the Spirit of God to fight on your behalf. Because of ourselves, we can do nothing. And of ourselves, we know nothing. So you have nothing to fight with. Why focus on being a drug addict or being an alcoholic or being this? That ain't doing you no good. It ain't making you better. You may stop smoking pot, but now you're taking acid or something else. Think about it. But when you change, the heart is changed from being a murderer to love, then no matter what come at you, you can't hate. You can't overreact. You cannot, because your nature has changed. The heart has changed. And he'll take care of the rest. God knows us better than we know ourselves. God knows me better than any of y'all know me, better than I know myself, right? But for some reason, he's using me to tell you to wake up, to tell you to forgive, to tell men you are the light of the world, the salt of the earth, to tell men and women you must be born again of the Father. I didn't come up with that idea myself. And so the reason people go from hate to love because they never had love. And I used to think that people had love because they would say what I said. They would say, oh, I went and forgave my mama. And so I'm free now. I don't have anger. I don't have that. They lying. That's why they crash. Because you have true love, you cannot crash. Love conquers all. So the illusion that this is a church is not. Wipe it out. Smack and grab. Smash and grab. What did black do? Smash and grab. Really. I'm not a preacher. I'm just bringing you a message. I still have to pray every day. every night. And now I'm at the point where doing work and during the day, I'm more aware now. The prayer without ceasing thing has come about. I'm more aware without even trying. I still practice though. What I was telling the guys this morning, when you walk, when you're talking to one another, when you're eating, be aware. Even God said, when you eat and drink, think of me. Meaning don't get into the food. Don't get into the drink. Just stay aware because the food will seduce you. It'll make you forget. And now you just love mama for her good food. Mama, I love you. This chicken is so good. And mama's sucking it up. Yeah, I did that, my God. That's mama's love. And when you get mad at mama, the first thing she does, she want to cook. Come here, baby, have some dinner. Why should I have dinner? Because mama want to seduce you back in, right? So smash all that, right? We are just fellowshipping. I'm just Jesse. And I ain't never telling you my personal business, so don't even ask. Don't even ask. Think what you want, but don't ask. I ain't telling you. We were raised, even in my father's state, the old people tell us, don't tell for your personal business and stay out of other people's business. It ain't your business. We were raised that way. Really. Don't let the devil deceive you with the imagination, folks. You got to come out of the imagination. And then don't blame other people because you were in an imagination. And you expected that person to be a certain way because your imagination. Poor preachers, when they make one stupid mistake, they're on the run because everybody's chasing them. Running them out of the church, running them like they are better than the preacher. But then a lot of preachers, they put on the phony act though. They really, really do. They make you depend on them. They don't tell you what you need to know is with you. They don't tell you that you already know the truth. You just must be born of the truth. Come back to it. Because they put these titles on there and they want you coming to them. And they want you seeing them as a preacher, the pastor that only got the word. You know the truth. Look what's happening when you're waking up. You're remembering the truth. You remember not to overreact. You remember not to hate your neighbor. You remember blah, 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 right? So this is not a church. Smash it. We're a fellowship. Christ didn't have Christ have a church, or was he on the roadside somewhere? He didn't have a church, right? No. So he didn't even have a church. What the? Really, he didn't have a church. Return to the Father by dropping that anger and become your own man or woman. Don't listen to all this crap. Your imagination will drive you crazy. And if somebody treats you a certain way because they had an image of you, you can't take responsibility for that. That's their fault. They need to see that about themselves. And the last thing about that, our body is the temple of God. Didn't God say our body is the temple? We should worship him there. The kingdom of heaven is within us. It's within. It's above and within. We should worship him there. But nobody wishes him there. They worship him in imagination. In darkness. The kingdom of heaven. All you need to know is there. And I wouldn't know if he wasn't showing me. And Christ, God knows me better than anybody. He knew everything about me. And he loved me. And we should love one another. But not with the Father love. It has to be the real deal. Yes. And then, did you have your hand? No. Oh, okay. I saw your hand.
Yeah.
Right?
So there's like a story in the Old Testament about this prophet where like they were like building fire with the other priests, like, and point is, God brought fire, and I think he had put water in the wood or something like that, right? And he just proved his power. And then he was later threatened by Jezebel, if I'm not mistaken, and he just like, this prophet lost faith. So that kind of shows like, you know, his humanity, right? Even though he's called a prophet, he's still a human being. So with me, like you, I mean, I didn't hear about you for like years, and then I came to church. No, I just liked what you said, and I found out that you had a church. So me personally, I have not put you like on a pedestal, and I think that's the mistake that people...
Don't even put the church, the building on a pedestal.
And I don't.
Don't put the title on a pedestal or anything. That way Satan can't play on it. He can't deceive
There's
you.
things that I do disagree with you on, but I mean, you know, but again, that's me. Like,
Absolutely.
I have my own path with God.
Yeah.
And another thing that I just wanted to ask you have said in the past, if I'm not mistaken, that you're perfect. Is this
Yes.
true?
Yes.
So are you
I'm glad
perfect?
you brought that up. Any other perfect person here? Oh, just one? Oh, two. Can I get three? Three. Can I get a four? It's the heart that's made perfect. The heart is made from stone to love. And you are not your body. You are your heart and soul of God. You're created in His spirit. But in this body, when you're angry, you have the spirit of the devil. So your heart, your spirit is imperfect. But it's the heart that's made perfect. It's not the body. But when you get the perfect body, the perfect heart, then the heart, which is the love of God in you, right? It will clean up the imperfect body by causing the ego to die. You can't make the ego die. He would cause that, His power, His love, would cause the ego to die, and that way the whole body is cleaned up as well. But the ego must die because the ego is of the devil. The ego is of the devil. So whatever junk you picked up along the way, you can't do anything about it. Nothing you can do about it. But the power of the heart, the soul, which is of God, will do it for you. Only thing God asks us to do before we can enter in, we must realize that we're wrong for being angry at other people. We're wrong for hating. Go and forgive, and He'll let you in, and He'll do the rest. He'll do the rest. He'll take care of you. You can't just, if you can change your body, vices and things, you have already done it. But you can't. You go, every time you try, you go for one thing, maybe for one thing, or you get deep into the vice. You need the perfect heart. God's spirit is perfect. In the New Testament, in the Old Testament, people did what they did because they couldn't help it. That's why Christ had to come. They didn't have help of God. They didn't have the help of Christ, right? The Spirit. And so He sent the New Testament through Christ and created a new reality, perfect love. And perfect love conquers all. That's why He said, before you can come in here, you must go and forgive, because that unforgiving spirit is of the devil. It's not of you, it's of the devil. And you are children of the devil. But once you forgive, He'll bring you in, you can let go and live. If anybody else don't understand it, let them live in the darkness. Wish them well. And you won't be able to go after anyone. It will be impossible to try to get revenge or anything, because you have perfect love, and you realize that the person cannot see. Because if they were able to see, they wouldn't do what they're doing. They wouldn't try to hurt one another. Christians try to hurt one another more than non-Christians. There's literally no difference between a non-Christian and a Christian, a Bible thumper Christian, not one that has been truly born again. They go after each other the same way, and they make up excuses. Have y'all noticed that? Your worst enemy could be a Christian, the one that's supposed to have love. Amazing. What y'all thinking? Yes, sir. Last word there. Oh, let me take. I don't know who I saw first, but let me go ahead.
Well, I wanted to answer the biblical question.
Oh, let me
and,
get this in. I'll come to that. I really do want to get on that.
Two things to say, but yeah, first.
Okay. Right here, Nick.
I was going to say, when you were talking about being aware, and you said you were talking to the guys about being aware, and for me, it started with the silent prayer. And in the beginning, like when I would do this silent prayer, I'll be really caught up in my imagination, all these thoughts and everything, and then just practicing doing it morning and night, like you said. It began to calm down. I began to relax in it. And now I'm in the practice of moving the silent prayer all throughout my day so that I'm aware. And is that like, to me, it seems like that's like praying without ceasing, because you're
100%.
going through everything. You're aware of everything, practicing being aware of everything in every moment, and being in the presence of God.
You want to always have your light with you. Really. That's why it's so important to be present, because when you're present, the light is always with you, and you will always see. But when you go into the imagination, the light going out, and you're in darkness. Mm-hmm. So practice during the day being aware, being in the light. That way the devil can't tempt you, or, well, he can tempt, but you'll resist it, right? Be in the light, but let yourself, It's the heart. Read the New Testament. It's the heart that he changes. It's your soul. It's the little piece of him that is, of you that is his nature. That's what he brings you back to. And his nature is of love and of light. And he will guide you. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's freedom too. You
It's
feel
total
free.
freedom.
You don't because when you're aware, you're not worried about anxiety or fear or what's going to happen in the future, the past. You're just right there in that moment, and you feel free, and you're able to enjoy the birds tweeting and the colors of the green trees and grass and flowers and everything.
Anxiety is your enemy. Really. Anxiety and worry and pressure and all that stuff is your pure enemy. It's not your friend. And so, and the way to avoid your enemy, defeat your enemy, is stand in the light. Well, you go into the imagination, it's over. It's totally over. So, so when people have titles, doctor this and doctor that, you can go to a physical doctor for a health reason, and because he have a title, or she has a title, now they have a lot of women doctors, you're afraid to ask the doctor questions. Because you don't want to hurt the man with the title. You have him up here. You don't see him going to just another person who has a degree to be a doctor. He learned how to be a doctor. That's all he did. God gave him the talent to be a doctor. He didn't put him over you. So if you go to a doctor, you have a right to ask, what is this medication for? Why did you describe this for me? How long would I have to take it? And if he doesn't have time to answer, then I'll go to another doctor. But most of you, because he has a title, you're afraid to ask him a third and a second question. Because you have him up here as a doctor. This is just a man with a degree, and the degree means nothing. He paid a lot of money for it. It means nothing. It has no meaning. It just tells you what kind of work they do. That's it. That's all there's to it. It doesn't mean they're smarter. It just tells you a nurse, what kind of work you do? I'm a nurse. Oh, but you're still that same person, right? She's just telling you what kind of work she does. That makes sense? Well, if you have imagination, you hook that title onto that person and you see them as something special. Better than you. Oh, the nurse is better than me. Have y'all noticed that about yourself? Am I wrong about any of that? Anybody disagree with that? A title don't mean a thing. Our government have titles, right? Congressman, congresswoman, and all that. Look how messed up the world is. The title didn't help them. But what it did, it prevented you from dealing with them like a human being. It holds you back from just seeing that person just as Joe Biden or whomever, whatever liberal or Republican or whatever it might be. That title is preventing you from dealing with them like you would any other person. You don't treat them the same because you got them up here with this title. It's a deceiving. You say you had a second question? Yes, sir. Oh, you want to get to the biblical question?
Yeah, the biblical question first, and then the other thing. Yeah.
Do you ever consult your mind?
Yes, I do, because my definition of that, it's a very good biblical question. That goes to what my father always taught me: think before you speak and think before you act.
Yeah.
More recently, about almost 2 months ago, we caught a flat tire in our van, and we were waiting at the tire shop to get it fixed. We had put the spare on, and we were waiting in the parking lot of the tire place.
Make a long story short, because of time.
Of time, yeah. So this homeless guy was just passing by with his cart, and he decided to push his cart into our van. Boom! So now we have a dent in our van. At that moment, I had never done so much consulting of my mind in so little time.
Yeah.
I felt like coming out, opening the side door and taking out my machete and just going after that guy.
Right.
But
That's
then
that
I
overreaction.
consulted my mind. I said, wait a minute. No, if I do that, then if I hurt this guy, I'm going to make him a millionaire. Well, I'm not a millionaire, but there's cameras here. They saw our van. They have our license plates.
Yeah.
I thought all at once. I said, you know what? This N-word, I did say N-word in my mind. Ain't
Oh, he
worth
was
it.
black?
He was black. Yep.
And you said the N-word in your mind?
Yeah.
Whoa,
Well, I
you
told my
said the
dad-
real one?
I told my dad in Spanish, you know what, It ain't worth it. You know what? I'm not gonna go to jail over this guy, so I
Yeah.
just let it go.
Yeah, if you said the N word, you're right. You would be in jail.
I just let it go, and so. But I could have just gone out and just gone after that guy, you know. But
Yeah.
he just left and screaming on his own, you know, yelling obscenities, and
Yeah.
so I just moved the car on the side and just, you know.
Nice.
It was here at Davis Brothers by the bridge on La Cienega in Washington.
Yeah, we don't need
Yeah.
to know all that. Man.
Oh yeah, well it's right here, yeah, close by.
But I don't need to know the name.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so I mean, so that's what happened. So I consulted my mind. You know,
Everybody-
My mind told me, you know what? It ain't. You know, I ain't gonna go to jail over this because I'm gonna go to jail. He's probably gonna sue if I do something.
Yeah.
Whatever little money I have is gonna go to him. So you know, so all of us as citizens, we're all tied up. You know, I'm sure we're all in that same
Everybody,
situation.
every fallen state human being consult the mind. You consult your thought, and you get the wrong answer every time.
So I got the wrong answer by not retaliating.
Well, it sounds like your parents told you to think before you act, right?
Yeah,
So
you
that's
gotta
what you
think.
did.
You
That's
gotta,
fine. That's fine. I don't know what you mean by consulting your mind about that,
Oh.
but that's fine. But this young lady, I believe, said it perfectly, that in that imagination, you look for one answer and you think you got it, and then you'll question that and look for another answer and question that. You're consulting your mind
Yeah.
for the answer, and it's not there. It's
But
just
I
not there.
imagine, you know,
But
going to
if you
jail. You know
stay
what? It's not worth going to jail for like.
That's
whatever.
right. If you stay calm.
I imagined it, but so I said, no way. I'm not going to do that. So I just let it go.
Right. If you stay calm, you'll see the answer. Never consult the imagination. It just give you one answer or another. And if you watch closely, when you're in your imagination, you're consulting with it. You really are. So watch it, all right? Every human being does. We can't help it in the fallen state because we are living in the imagination. We're in darkness. All right? So, did this help a little bit about smash and grabbing? Did this help about this is not a church? And I'm not a preacher. I only had a title because I had to get it. The worldly way thing, right? Is that clear? That's why I want to hear from you guys, because I learned from you guys. I always say, you know, I learned a lot today. I learned from you as you're learning from me, because the Holy Spirit is teaching us. I'm just Jesse. I love sweet potato pie, candy yam, collard green, okra. Y'all like okra? Oh, yeah. Ooh. Made me want to go to a soul food restaurant right now. So my biblical question for next week, I got to end it, man. So you can ask me right now. I got to end a brand new biblical question for this week. Is what's the biblical question?
Do you believe God is with you?
Oh, do you believe God is with you? What do you think, young lady in the back? Do you believe God is with you?
Yes, I do.
Is this your first time here?
It is, yes.
Oh, this is your first time?
Yes.
What's your name?
Shelly.
Shelly?
Yes.
And welcome. How did you hear about us?
He introduced me to you about a year ago.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so we've been watching you every week.
Nice. And did you go and forgive your mother?
I actually did last night.
Oh, you didn't?
Yeah.
How did it go? Praise the Lord. That's what we should be.
I wasn't expecting that situation, but she came out and apologized on her end, and I just told her I forgave her.
Right on.
So yes.
And how about your father?
It's been one heck of a weekend. I just got back connected with my father yesterday. As well, I have not had a relationship with him for about 8 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So we've been able to rekindle that relationship and move forward.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yes, thank
It
you.
really is amazing. Any question about anything? It's your
No.
first time?
No.
No? Anything you disagree with?
No.
Nothing?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad you're here. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
All right. This your first time too? Right? Any questions about anything you disagree with that you've heard?
Yeah, it was a couple points I disagree with.
One. Give me one real fast. If you don't mind.
Okay, so you said Jesus isn't God?
Right.
Okay. Question. So if he isn't God, then why did they kill him? If he never claimed, okay, so he never said, I am God, right? He
Right.
those words never came out of his mouth.
Right.
But he did claim to be God, right? He said,
Right.
I am, right? If
No.
we look in the Old Testament, I am is referring to Jehovah.
To who?
Jehovah.
To Joseph?
Jehovah, the
Oh.
God who created
Right.
the earth, right? So that would be my question, because if he didn't claim to be God, then why did they kill him?
Because the same way they're going to kill you when you overcome anger, and the Spirit of the Father going to work through you, and the light, and it's nothing but truth, and the enemies of God, anyone that has anger, the enemy of God, they're going to hate you for it. And they're going to try to kill you. Because they hate the truth that's in you.
So that's specifically why they killed
100%.
Jesus?
Yeah.
It wasn't because he said, I am, which was referring to the name that they call God in the Old Testament?
Well,
because if you look
if
biblically,
Jesus is kind of smart, right?
Yeah.
And so if he thought he was God, he would just cut it off as I am. He
well,
said, I am
because he
God.
has the power to forgive, right?
So do you once you overcome the anger. That power of forgiveness will work through you.
But I'm saying, like, he forgave sins, right?
Yes.
He was like he actually people came to him to enter heaven, right? He forgave people from sins, right?
Right.
The man at the
He
well.
forgave
so
the
it's
people.
like, if he's not God, then what gives him the power to forgive sins and to get people into heaven?
That's a home run question. That's a really good question.
Okay. Well,
The young man
I ain't trying to, like, I know we gotta go, but you can.
The young man behind you want to answer that.
All right.
This is not your first time here, right?
Yes, this is my first time.
Oh, it is your first time? Oh, you
Yes.
look, all black people look alike to me. Oh, for sure, I've seen you at least once before. What's your name, man? How'd you hear about us?
My name's Zay. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. Born and raised in Birmingham, Alabama.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sweet home, Alabama.
Yeah, man.
Well, thank you for coming. What do you say to what he just said? If Jesus wasn't God, how did he have the power to forgive? Right? That's his question, right?
If Jesus wasn't God, how did he have the power to forgive?
Yeah. Yeah, hold the mic up.
Yeah. Because, I don't know, I don't have the answers to it, but it is because God was in Jesus, he was a part of, God, God was in Jesus, so it's just like you being a part of your Father, your Father may be the one that started everything, and you just a bloodline just from that, extending on that gift or extending on that bloodline that's been given already before, so I just said it's just an extension from his Father. That's how I look at it.
100%. You have the nature of the Father when you were born of the Father. And his nature is forgiveness all the time. It's never anger, it's never hate. So if that's the nature that you have, the only one that you have, you can't help but live a life of forgiveness. No matter what happens, you cannot hate. You cannot be angry. Because your nature is of perfect love. But if you're in a fallen state, then your nature is of hate, is of no love at all. And so you judge and hate everybody and yourself and everything else. But you cannot hate if you've been born of love.
Okay,
So Jesus had God's nature.
Okay, so God is love, right?
Yes.
Okay, so do you agree that in order to have the feeling of love, in order to know what love is, you need something to love, right?
You need something to love?
Yeah, you need something, because how else will you know what love is if you can't express that? So you need something to love, right?
Well, love is not a feeling, and God does love us. God love us. That's why he sent his son. Because if he didn't love us, we would have no way out. But it's not a feeling. It's a light unto your feet. It's a non-judgment nature. It's no anger, no worry, no thought. It's just free. And you see that the people who try to hurt you, and they will try to kill you, you will not judge them because you can't. There's nothing in you, no matter what come at you, there's nothing in you to judge them because you have love, just as God is of love. That's why God doesn't hold anything against us.
Okay, so love isn't a feeling. So
No.
Okay, so explain love to me again. I'm sorry.
Love is simply not hating. When you don't
Not
have
hating.
anger, you have perfect love.
Okay,
It's
So-
not a feeling. You can't taste it, feel it, or touch it. You do feel the energy of God, and you know it's His energy, His nature.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not a feeling. That love you have is mama's love. That's the kind of love will kill you.
But
It will stay with you until the day you die.
But in order for my mom to love me, I have to be me, right? It has to be something for her not to hate, right?
Your mother don't love you. Your mother cannot love. Women don't love.
Oh, okay. So there's no love?
No love.
There's no love. So you don't love?
I don't love. The spirit of the Father. I wasn't able to love when I was in the fallen state, but I felt all that stuff that you were talking about. I knew exactly what you're talking about, right?
Okay.
And I thought that was love, but it wasn't. It was hate. But then when He changed my heart took that anger away, that hate away, and gave me His love, it's the truth, it's the light, it's no feeling. You live by it.
So God gave you love?
Yes.
But you can't express love? You can't.
What do you mean by express it? I'm
'Cause you say you
expressing it
don't
right
love.
now.
You say you don't love.
Right. But it's His love loving through me. We don't, in ourselves, we don't have it. Of ourselves, we can do nothing. Of ourselves, we know nothing. Only the ego wants you to think that you do, but you really don't.
Okay. Oh. Okay. Okay. I don't really.
Good question, though, man.
I'm trying to comprehend it.
Yeah. Get to know yourself. Pay attention to yourself, and you see how much you live in your thoughts, which are not your own. All thoughts are all lies all the time. No such thing as a true thought. And that you get angry, you're up and down emotionally, you have fear, you be afraid within, you're afraid of things, you overreact, right? That's your mama's nature in you. It's not your nature. That's the woman's nature, which came from the devil. Because God above is the man God, and the God below is the woman's God. And his nature is all ego all the time. It's all about self, how you make me feel.
But the second greatest commandment is love your neighbor as you love
That's
yourself, right?
Right.
So
But you
if
can
we
only
can't
do that once you're born of the Father.
So we can love then.
Right.
So you can love somebody,
Well,
right?
it's not you, though. Well, once you get it, you're not going to take credit for it anyway. You won't be able to help yourself because you'll see that it's not you. But once you get it, you'll see that it's the power of love working through you. The same thing, because Jesus even said it, the same spirit is in me as in you.
Right.
Greater work shall you do.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, because of the Father sent Him, my Father and I are one. You're one with the Father, and so will you be when you forgive your mother for recreating you in her image and making you emotional like her, and then turning you away from your Father. And when you forgive your Father for not protecting you from her, then you'll be born of this love I'm talking about. Your whole heart will change. And then you'll see what I'm talking about. But you got to forgive your mother. She couldn't help herself.
Okay.
She doesn't want to be crazy, but she just can't help it. Isn't that right? She doing the best she can do.
Okay.
What?
You wanna look at me?
No. No, did that make sense? A little bit?
I don't know. We need,
What?
we need to talk about that.
Yeah.
I
Smoke on
really
it.
get it.
Well, no, don't smoke. You don't smoke pot, right?
No, I don't smoke.
Yeah, don't smoke on it.
Yeah, I'm a born again Christian.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go and forgive your mother. Have you forgiven your mother?
Yeah.
You went to her?
Well, I mean, I've never really had a. Well, yeah. Yeah.
You forgave her?
Yeah.
Did you go and tell her, I'm sorry for resenting you?
I'm trying to think of an instance. Yeah, I have.
Lying.
I have, yeah. I've had it.
You ain't go to your mama, man.
Yeah.
I can see it all. I can tell when a black person lying.
Yeah. Nah, I have. Because, because it's really my mom. It's like, because she's not really the one that really, because she raised me, you know what I'm saying? It's really other people that I have a.
Your mother raised you?
Yeah.
She's supposed to raise you. She had you.
Yeah.
She didn't do you a favor.
Right,
She didn't like, I'm going to have you and I'm going to do you a favor. I'm going to raise you.
Yeah. Well, it was like-
She was supposed to do that.
Yeah, yeah.
So she wasn't doing you a favor.
Nah, she wasn't.
So what do you mean she's my mom?
I mean,
She raised me.
as far as like her doing something for me to forgive, like I know my mom ain't perfect. Like we've had altercations. You
Of
know,
course.
we had problems before. You know what I'm saying?
Well, go and forgive
So-
her for making you angry like that when you had it. She couldn't help herself.
Yeah.
You need to go to her though and face her, because then you'll get your courage back, and God will reverse that order. It'll be God in Christ, Christ over man, man over woman, and woman over children. But right now, the woman is your God. But when you forgive your mother, the woman will no longer be your God, and you can deal with everybody in a perfect way. But you must be born of the Father. Real fast, did you forgive your father?
Yeah.
You went to him?
Yes.
Oh, you went to your father?
Yes.
And what did you say to him?
It was really, well, forgiveness for me is really not just like, hey man, I forgive you for what you did and we'll do. It's more of actions for me. It's like, I mean, I could say I forgive you with my words, but if my actions not really proving that, then I mean, we can look at Jesus, right? If he could say he forgave people, but you know, if he didn't die on the cross.
Did
then
God
it was-
say before you enter into the kingdom, you must go and forgive?
Say that one more time.
Did God say before you enter into the kingdom of heaven, you must forgive?
No, he said, be born again.
He said also say you must go and forgive.
Well, yeah, yeah.
Did you do that before you became a Christian?
Forgave? No, now that's really stuff I really learned after I became a Christian.
Oh yeah, I learned it afterward too.
Yeah.
Go and forgive. You'll see.
Yeah.
So you're going to shake in your boot, especially with your mama, since she had you. And she took care of you, right?
Yeah.
Because right now you identify with her, she pretend to be a victim, but she's not a victim. And she made your father look bad, but she drove your father nuts. Because he couldn't handle his mother, so he couldn't handle your mother. You end up married to the same woman that's just like mama. And so you can't handle it, so you leave the kids with mama and she destroy them. And then the thing start over and over and over again. So forgive your father for not protecting you from her. He couldn't handle her. And your mama is not a victim.
Yeah.
Your mama a whippersnapper.
Yeah, I hear you. But I brung up the whole love thing because I feel like this really gives like people who really don't believe in God like the hand up. Like when we talk about love as people who believe in God, right?
Yeah.
You know, if he never, because me being a Christian, I believed in the Holy Trinity, right? God, the Father, Jesus Christ being there, and the Holy Spirit, the three in one, right? You know, if God was in heaven alone, then how could he love, right? How can he give us love if he never had to love anything? So how can God know love?
Amazing.
You know what I'm saying? If he never loved anyone. You know
I
what I'm
understand
saying?
where you're coming
Which,
from. I totally do.
For me,
But
yeah.
listen,
So
if
that's
you really want to
that's
know
I was-
what love is, go forgive your mother and father.
Okay.
Go to them and just say, hey, mother, I'm sorry for resenting you because I'm emotional just like you. But
Yeah.
get to see it for yourself. And you'll see that you have the same emotion your mother have, you just like her, right? And you'll see that you can't help it. You're just angry. It controls you.
Yeah.
Same thing with her. If you go and forgive her for that, don't ask for forgiveness. I'm sorry for resenting you. God will forgive you and forgive your father. He couldn't help it, right?
Yeah.
And they both love you the best way they could with that father state love. But then you will see what love really is, and you'll be able to love them with perfect love.
All right.
All right.
I hear you.
All right. I'm
I
glad
hear
you came.
Yeah.
Anybody else first time? No other first timers, sir? Okay. Thank you all for tuning in. I'm sorry we started late today. The computer fault. Well, not real sorry, but somewhat sorry. I'm faking about sorry. I ain't sorry at all. And thank you for your support. I really want to encourage you to get on that straight and narrow and stay there, no matter what. And that crash in love thing, it ain't real love. They never had it. I used to think that people had love because they say, oh, I went and forgave my mama. I really love you. I this and that. They never loved me. What the? It's not the real deal. But don't judge them. They cannot help it. Do the silent prayer Doubt every thought. Pray and watch. Just pray and watch. Go and forgive, pray and watch. You'll be fine. Any announcement, Ernest? Men's Forum this Thursday at 7 p.m. First Thursday already. Every first Thursday night is for men only, and third Thursday night for ladies only, and Sunday morning for everybody. So this Thursday, Men's Forum. And that's the way home. Chris, go beat him up. And what else? Stay with the prayer. Don't judge. Stay with the prayer. Stay with the prayer. You'll be fine. One other thing. Stay on the straight and narrow, folks. Thank you for your support. I do appreciate it. We have amazing counseling and all that kind of stuff if you should need it. I hope this was helpful, and I hope it was helpful for you all too. Thank you all for coming. It was amazing.